Monkey D. Garp is on his way to challenge the Blackbeard pirates and save his former apprentice Kobe. But what if I told you this means we're getting one of the craziest and most hyped team-ups in One Piece history? Garp and Katakuri versus Blackbeard. You must watch until the end of this video to find out if Garp is going to die here and why I believe a furious Katakuri will invade Hachinosu, and trust me, there's plenty of evidence for it. Let's start with Monkey D. Garp and his connections to Sword. In chapter 1071, we find out that Garp is the only person in the Marines with the balls to launch an attack against a Yonko.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Which is nuts because Akainu's just been sitting around and Garp's retired. But this is why we love Garp, because he's just like an old Luffy, charging in to save Kobe from the Blackbeard pirates. This opens so many possibilities. I recommend that you watch my previous Sword video, which is a few months old, where I discuss every character I believe is in Sword and why Garp is the founder of the organization. It's funny too because recently Bogard, Garp's right-hand man who trained Kobe and Helmeppo, is being memed into popularity all over the internet, and I've been on that Bogard hype train for a while now, as he's the perfect candidate for a Sword member, and so I really can't wait to see him fight one of the Blackbeard Titanic captains. Considering Kobe's in Sword as well as Helmeppo, and Garp decides to grab Helmeppo and Hibari, I also think it adds much more credence to Garp being in Sword. First off, Helmeppo and Kobe were trained under Garp and Bogard, and then is it a coincidence to say that they both became members of Sword? I don't think based on Hibari's reaction that she knows Garp already personally, but if she does, that's even more evidence. I shouted out Randy Troy's Law theory, which I agree with to this day, where he makes the case for Law being a Sword agent. Where this could all play out is Law, another secret member of Sword, being at Hachinosu Island. I still think back to those strange interactions in Wano where Law was mysteriously freed from Hawkins, which was probably Drake, and then to the very first time we ever seen Law, as he has a back and forth banter with X Drake, the captain of Sword. So Garp might just reveal Sword's members when he arrives. It also makes sense that Garp would create his own secret faction within the world government, since he hates the idea of serving the celestial dragons who pull the strings from the shadows. Finally, Kuzan is someone who I also predicted as a member of Sword. But I don't think Kuzan will be there when Garp arrives. Unless Kuzan's role with the Blackbeard pirates is simply just an infiltrator, then it's possible that we see this come into light with Kuzan there. But I just have a strong feeling that Kuzan has other motives and reasons for wanting to work with Blackbeard. This was hinted at when he spoke to Smoker at Punk Hazard, implying that he had his own goals and ambitions. And it's not yet the right time to reveal what this ulterior motive is or what his connection to Blackbeard is. I still believe personally that Kuzan has the will of D, but that's a video for another day. So this is how I picture Garp invades Hachinosu. We get a glimpse of Prime Garp as he one-shots multiple Titanic captains. You have to remember that some of these guys like Doc Hugh are not going to be very strong in a fight, and I cannot wait to see this because Garp the Fist is going to fist these pirates a new one. Now let's dive into the beloved donut-eating mochi man, Charlotte Katakuri. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell like Luffy and Skypiea to be notified for my upcoming videos. We have a Whitebeard video, a Luffy video, a Zoro video, and a bunch of theories on the way, and you're not going to want to miss any of them. Now, I want to give a quick shout out to Mr. Bushido for giving me the idea of Katakuri and Garp teaming up at Hachinosu. I'll make sure to credit him in the description so you can check out some of his other One Piece theories, and I'll also leave 2 other videos that we've collabed on in the past. In chapter 1064, we saw that Kuzan and Van Augur captured Pudding from Tadoland, and in that same chapter, Pudding is shown captured saying, "If Mama's still alive, you won't be talking like that much longer." And then a Blackbeard pirate replied to her saying, "The guy we're fighting right now killed her. How's a new era supposed to get going if all the old legends are still kicking around?" Now to me, this conversation makes me think that Big Mom is dead. It would make sense that Katakuri is in charge of the Big Mom pirates now that Big Mom is missing. I can see a situation where he leads Hachinosu with the goal of saving Pudding, but if Big Mom is dead, then that would be even more motivation for him to go, because he could also confront Law and fight him, an attempt to avenge their legendary pirate mother. Oda knows how much One Piece fans love Katakuri, and I just had the feeling that he's going to get his shine in the final saga. I saw Film Red in theaters, and when it came out, that moment between Shanks and Katakuri had me standing and yelling in the theaters. Even though Katakuri is only in the movie for a few scenes, it's always hype with him regardless. He's the definition of a fan favorite character, and even though he's the antagonist during his fight with Luffy, I had that same Film Red energy when I found myself cheering for Katakuri so many times. It's so easy to love his character, and I don't know anyone who does not like him. What I love about Kat joining forces with the hero of the Marines is that it would be the king of observation and Garp the Fist teaming up in a dream matchup. After Oda's Jump Fest announcement hinting at the final saga having crazy what the matchups and unpredictable what-if scenarios, this is already starting to be that promise. I mean, who would have guessed Garp and Blackbeard would fight to kick off the final saga after Blackbeard just fought Law? And that's also why I don't think it's a stretch for Katakuri to pull up because of this unpredictable and chaotic final saga of One Piece. We already know from the God Valley incident that Garp is willing to team up with pirates. We know Luffy is similar to Garp, so I could also see him and Katakuri having a mutual respect for each other as genuinely good people and also as strong fighters. We know Garp doesn't like pirates for the most part, however Katakuri isn't a villainous man in the most stereotypically piratey way, and Garp also has a huge heart for his family, saying during Ace's execution, "I have no pity for criminals, but my family is a different story." This is why I think Garp would understand Katakuri, who is there to save his sister from the dangerous and evil Blackbeard pirates. Both characters have hands for days and they both have impressive hockey. For Katakuri, this was already showcased and I would love to see more, but for Garp, it would be the very first time we see how powerful he is. I always imagined Garp to have the strongest ornament hockey in the verse. We had to consider how he was as a legend from his younger days, taking out the Rock's crew at God Valley and from his battles with pirates as strong as Roger. There is no way Garp is not a hockey animal oozing with conquerors. Will it be as potent as someone like Kaido or Luffy? Maybe not, but even now in his old age, Garp has admitted that he is nowhere the strength he once was. But I think for the Monkey D family, they are just simply built different. Normally, age does play a huge factor in One Piece, but Luffy's only 19 and he's now stronger than most characters that are twice his age. As a teenager, he has skyrocketed to the top of the One Piece verse in terms of power. And so with Garp, I could see a situation where he's still retained a lot of his strength more than the other old characters. I picture Garp as truly a superhuman. He's like an old Yonko, similar to Big Mom or Old Beard. I still think Big Mom's stronger, but I think Garp is around that area. Physically, Garp's natural physical build is still impressive, with a massive upper body, huge fist, and if anything, I would say Garp's peak strength, speed, and reaction time has taken big hits as he's aged. I would say Garp going in and running into Blackbeard would be the true test where Oda has finally shown us if Blackbeard has Conqueror's Haki. Let me know in the comments, do you think Blackbeard has Conqueror's Haki and why or why not? Another interesting point to make about Garp versus Blackbeard is the parallels between Blackbeard and Rocksteady Zebek. The Will of D, his ship is Zebek, the gathering of a dangerous crew of powerful pirates at Hachinosu. Blackbeard is the ultimate foil to Luffy, while Rocks was Roger's greatest enemy, and there's so much more. Garp may even see the similarities between Blackbeard and Rocks when he arrives, and this might be how we learn more about the Rocks crew. Cause I could really see Oda giving us a conversation about the Rocks pirates and the God Valley incident between the two. Think about how so many people around the world look at Luffy and they are reminded of Goldie Roger. This could be parallel where Garp meets Blackbeard and immediately is reminded of Zebek. Another terrifying thing about Garp facing Blackbeard is that it seems that he has a great matchup for Blackbeard because his darkness power consumes Devil Fruit abilities, nullifying them like we saw in the battle with Ace. And Garp with no Devil Fruit has nothing but his fist and Haki to punch straight through Blackbeard's ability. A pure Haki master versus a Devil Fruit monster. And speaking of Ace, let's not forget that it was Blackbeard who captured Ace and turned him in for his bounty, an event which ultimately would spark the Paramount War and the entire Marineford saga. In a way, Blackbeard is a little responsible for Ace's death, and I wonder if it will be brought up in this confrontation. I can see Blackbeard being the truly evil villain that he is and bringing up Ace just to piss off Garp or get in his head. Or there might just be some trash talk where he's saying, "I'm going to defeat you just like I did your grandson." Ultimately, will Blackbeard or Garp win? And is there a chance that Garp actually dies here? In that Jump Fest announcement I mentioned earlier, Oda also teased the possibility that characters will die from these crazy unexpected matchups, ending the announcement with the ominous, "I hope no one dies." It would break my heart if Katakuri died attempting to save Pudding. I'm not gonna lie, it would make him an even better character than he already is. I know some would cry, and even insinuating that this could happen has to be terrifying to hear for Katakuri fanboys, but to reassure you, I have faith that if Oda does go this route, he would make him go out like a G. And so if Katakuri goes out like a G, I can't even begin to imagine how glorious and inspiring a Garp final goodbye could be as he protects Kobe, inspiring him to reach the highest heights of the Marines and become an admiral one day. Do I think Kobe will ever be as cool or interesting or entertaining or even as strong as Garp? No, of course not. But this would be a very crucial inspiration if Oda did chose to go this route. It would be like his Uncle Ben backstory in a sense. And then looking at Luffy's side of things, if Garp did die to Blackbeard, that would make their inevitable fight even more personal. Imagine a scenario at Laugh Tale where Blackbeard and Luffy are facing off, and all Luffy remembers about Blackbeard is that he not only killed his grandfather but was responsible for Ace dying in Marineford. And if you like this, here's a video that you must watch as it dives further into Garp's upcoming death. Check it out, it's from a great friend of the channel, Daxake.